thanks so much for joining me again. This is Miss T, and I am here for 4 reasons: to encourage, to inspire, to empower, and to inform. So, today I want to talk a little bit more on that traveling side of things, kind of on that informing side, and I want to talk about my trip that I took to Africa. It's going to be very brief. I just kind of want to share 3 things that I learned going there, and I'm going to kind of be looking down at my computer at my notes because I want to make sure that I stay on topic. So for this first point, what I want to talk about is there is also disparity in Africa. The specific reason that I say also is because we have it here and it's there too. Me personally, before I left, before I went there, before I stayed for a few months, I was thinking, okay, well, it's what I see in pictures. Maybe it's a little different. I wasn't really sure. But getting there and spending time there, I got to attend a organization and kind of be part of that organization and what they did working with kids. And this organization was in one of the very poorest area in this part of Africa that I visited. And it was neighboring, literally like the border, was one of the most ritzy and expensive areas in this specific part of Africa. So on one side you had very poor, and right next door you had very rich. I think often all we see about Africa is kind of history from the past, and then we see these videos of children that are having a really hard time. And it's not to say that it doesn't exist, because it does exist, but I just want to share this to say that there's more than just kind of what we see on the mainstream media. During my time there, I got to see how people like to wear their best, which was really cool and really inspiring to me. Being an American, I think sometimes we like to chillax a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But there, quite often it was you wear your best, you dress nice, and that was just kind of part of the culture. And the part of Africa that I visit is not the entire continent, so I kind of want to give that disclaimer. I don't know everything about every single part of Africa. I don't even know everything about the part of Africa that I visited, because, I mean, one can only know so much. But disparity exists there also. It's not solely poor and impoverished, and it's not solely ritzy, just like here it's not solely either. And the second point that I want to make is that in some ways, I think oftentimes the American culture can think that people in Africa have less, but I found that in many ways, I would say that they have more. And I know this is kind of an interesting concept, and I'm only hitting briefly on these, but what I found after staying there for a few months, and not staying in a hotel, but staying with natives, people that are from Africa, and learning their way of life and kind of trying to become part of that way of life, is that from America's perspective, from American perspective, or the general perspective, we see that there may be a lack of transportation, or there may be a lack of paved roads. And because we see this, we think, oh, well, they don't have the money for this, or this is missing, and it's not up to our standards. Well, there's kind of a two-sided thing to that. There's a lot more nature around, quite honestly. After staying there for quite a few months, when I came back to the United States, it seemed like everything was paved everywhere. In addition, there seemed to be, for me personally, a lot less distractions. In America, we are very big on convenience. Anything that can make something convenient, that can make it quicker, that can make it easier. We're very big on, let's get out the new thing because this one is better. This one makes it faster. This one makes it easier. In the place that I stayed, basic needs were met. What I needed to survive was met. I found enjoyment in the company of others. I didn't need all of the different options and variants of tools and gadgets that we have here in order to live a happy life. Given I didn't stay there permanently, but during my time there, that's something that I began to kind of consider, that maybe in some ways even though the Americanized culture may say that they have less, that I think they might actually have more. And then the third point, I'm going to look at my computer again, is culture. So this is huge. I love talking about culture, almost like we talk about this more. But specifically what I want to talk about regarding culture is I found that I have a culture. Going and staying there for a few months, I had to confront myself. And what I mean by that is I had to look at the way that I was used to doing things, the way that I felt was right in doing things, and consider this is the way that I've been raised. This is the way that I've been taught. This is the way that I've been socialized to think. Here, the people have a totally different culture. They've been raised a different way, socialized a different way, and everything that encompasses culture was not always different every single time. For example, we both wash dishes here in the United States in America. Where I stay, we wash dishes by hand sometimes we use the dishwasher. Well, with the family that I was staying with, there was no dishwasher. We washed them by hand, just like I do here quite often. So in some ways it may seem that doing things the way that are here are right and doing things that are the way that is considered right there is wrong. But in actuality, over time, I just found that it's different. And I don't know that anything's really wrong with something being different. I actually began to question, is it a first world, third world type thing that we're kind of taught? Or is it just different? Do I see a need because I've been taught that I have the right to have whatever it is, and since they don't have it, that they're behind and that they're lacking? Or are they okay with the way things are? Is it okay? Are they happy? Is it just different? And I think it depends on, of course, the topic and the subject and the item, whatever's being discussed. But I have a culture of my own. For example, greetings. Here we shake hands, we say hello, we give hugs. There, if you're in a traditional place, you're going to get on your knees, you're going to put your hand up, and you're going to greet the person as a sign of respect. And it's very humbling because it's very different to take the time and stop, reflect, and confront the way that you're used to doing things and saying, hey, there's another way of doing things. So those are kind of the three aspects that I wanted to share pertaining to my trip to Africa, and I know that's very brief. I'll share more at a later time, but again, I just want to kind of go over those. The first one was disparity exists there too. It's not solely all ritzy, it's not solely all impoverished. The second point was, in some ways, I think Africa has more, even though we say that America has more. And then the third point was that culture, well, we both have our own culture, and maybe it's just being different. It's not necessarily that one is right and one is wrong, or one is better and one is worse off. It's just different. So I hope that from this video, you've been able to glean something or take something or learn something about Africa that maybe you didn't know at first. Again, this is very brief. I like to keep it short, and I'll share more at a later date. Again, I'm going to tell you, even though you don't have to be a Christian to listen to this channel, Jesus loves you, and I hope that you have an awesomely, wonderfully blessed day. See you next time.